How would Consolo describe 2020, and how did the restrictions and all the legislation impact you and your organisation?
So 2020 has obviously been a challenging year for everybody, really. Because we're so used to the face-to-face interactions, it's been quite a challenge to kind of adapt to the new normal, I guess. From our perspective, we've always worked on a remote basis, unless we're actually on a client site. So I think the transition to remote working has been probably easier for us than for most. And really, it's been business as usual, certainly from the consultancy side. All we've really needed is that connectivity into the client sites. And of course, most of the clients have been developing and establishing that in the early part of 2020 anyway. So from the consultancy side, very little impact in reality, and businesses sort of continued as normal. From the training side, of course, our face-to-face courses, which were building momentum throughout 2019, have had to be postponed. And so we reassessed the situation, and where we were doing sort of 1 and 2 day courses face-to-face with groups of 10 or 15, we decided to break them up into sort of shorter sessions online on the basis that people can spend sort of 2 or 3 hours on a training course, but it's quite difficult to concentrate online if it's a whole day. So we took some of our securities finance courses and we broke them up into sort of 3-hour sessions for people to attend. And then we timed the sessions sort of early in the morning and late in the afternoon UK time, in order to kind of try and help people fit it around what they were doing and how they were sort of the new working process, really. So the online courses that we've been doing have been well received. We've done a number of them through 2020, and I think the timing of them has meant that we've sort of introduced a whole new raft of clients from both Asia and the US. So they've been working really well.
What have you got planned for 2021?
So 2021 is, we're very much looking forward to hopefully at the end of the year sort of arranging face-to-face meetings and getting back to some level of normality. We've sort of continued to, we're going to continue to provide the online courses. So the sort of 3-hour sessions using Zoom generally, and we continue to sort of develop our in-house bespoke courses. So the training side will continue in much the same vein, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll be able to organise some face-to-face. From the consultancy perspective, we're continuing to support our clients through SFTR, continuing to help them improve efficiencies and the accuracy of their data. And we've also been discussing with a number of clients the EMIR refit and MiFIR data requirements and reporting. So trying to aid the provision of that reporting for clients, with the kind of extensive knowledge of systems and data management that we have and have built up through the SFTR projects. Kind of it's a natural next step to expand that sort of working knowledge into to other reporting regimes. So very much kind of looking forward to working with clients to develop that out.
As SFTR implementation experts, how has that gone and where are we now?
Firstly, the good news is that it seems that everyone is reporting, and obviously that's been challenging in itself, given that all of the implementation deadlines have essentially occurred during the lockdown, so whilst people are working remotely. So that's the good news. A couple of trends that we are seeing, when we've been talking to smaller players or smaller clients, we're definitely seeing them having to restrict the counterparties they trade with on the basis of the SFTR reporting. So a number of the smaller players are not in a position to report directly themselves yet, and so are relying on delegated reporting. And so we're seeing them having to restrict who they trade with to those counterparties that can and are able to provide that delegated reporting. So that's not great when the reporting regime starts to impact who you trade with, and obviously that will have an impact on the cost effectiveness of the trading. In terms of the data, we're seeing some issues around data quality, more so in the modifications than in the new transaction reporting. And it seems that the pairing of the transactions, where there's sort of 10 core data fields that need to pair prior to the matching process, there seems to be issues within that. We're not clear what's driving that. We're not clear, given that it's on the modifications rather than on the new transactions, we're not clear what's driving that, but it's a definite trend that we're seeing around those kind of subsequent reporting requirements rather than the new transactions. More broadly with the reporting, we're seeing very clearly specific data fields that are impacting transactions' ability to match, and so breaks in the reporting. So data fields like the trading venue, and interestingly the execution timestamp, are causing some trades to mismatch, and therefore, without the matching, there's no UTI issuance, and so no reporting. The trade execution, or the execution timestamp rather, is an interesting one. Obviously within the regulation, you're given an hour's allowance around the time, which is much greater than in any other regulatory reporting. But you have an hour, so as long as the two trades are booked within an hour of each other, it should match. But we're seeing that consistently causing problems. So about 5% of the transactions are failing because of these core data fields and mismatches within them. So some of that looks like it's booking issues. Some of it is static data issues where defaults that have been agreed in the market are not being applied properly. But that's only at this stage really our best guesses. We're looking at the data and identifying the trends at the moment. So at Consolo, we've been helping clients sort of focus on that data quality and also focus on the efficiencies of the process. So ensuring that the data is managed in the most efficient and time-effective way as possible, and that the accuracy is there. So we have a number of clients that we're working with on that basis. And really, I think that's the focus in the market. Now we see everybody is reporting. It's really all about focusing on that quality of data, the accuracy of the data, and then the timing of the delivery of that data. So that's really where we've been focused.
Excellent. So a lot of progress, but not quite perfect. Tell me more about the training you provide and what plans you have post-COVID.
So as I mentioned before, we're doing online training courses. Each session is about 3 hours. And what we've done is we've tried to break them up so that depending on, sort of where you sit within the market, there's something for you. So for instance, we have our Securities Lending Fundamentals course, which is essentially a 3-hour session that talks about kind of why people are involved, the roles and responsibilities and the process within the securities lending industry. And that course is really designed for new entrants to the market, or for people providing satellite services who just need that overview or that understanding of how everything fits together. And that's been a very popular course that we've seen significant uptake, particularly from Asia and the US markets. But alongside that, what we've done is we've produced a number of sessions which are focused on a specific element of the market. So, for instance, we have a session that looks at non-cash collateral, looks at how you measure and manage collateral in the non-cash space, and how you manage that in a default situation. So very focused on, on the non-cash collateral. And we have another session that focuses on cash collateral. But these sessions are really much more of a deep dive into the specific aspect, and are probably better designed or better focused on sort of individuals that have an element of that within their job. So as an example, our corporate events looks at how corporate events are managed in the industry, what the best practices are, and some of the ways that they can go wrong and how that might be managed and mitigated out. So very sort of focused and directed at individuals who might be involved in those processes. So we have the online courses, and then we have the bespoke in-house ones at the moment. These are the courses where we work with a specific client and develop a course that suits them particularly. Going forward, we'd like to get back to the face-to-face. I think there's nothing quite like the interaction of a group of people coming together, the debates that you can have around specific aspects of the training. It makes it a much richer learning experience, and also just allowing that time, allowing the focus for an hour, for a full day on a specific topic is really helpful. So going forward in 2021, we want to open up those public courses. We want to continue with the online courses. I think they're useful, and I think we've certainly seen people taking quite significant value from those. And then to kind of continue to develop the bespoke in-house courses as and when we can get back to spending time with clients directly.
How does the in-house training work? In terms of clients come to you with a particular area they want you to help them learn more about, or because they've got new members of staff? I mean, is there a general sort of case?
Yeah, so the bespoke ones are really about providing whole teams or whole departments or whole companies with the same training that's focused around their particular business or business needs. So, for instance, the process would be to identify the need, to work with the HR teams and the businesses to formulate an agenda that's very specific to the company. So, for instance, we've run courses on a number of different topics outside of securities lending. We have a number of different trainers with different experience within our group, and they can provide sort of the expertise around a sort of broad range of topics. So, to give you an example, we've recently run training for a company. In fact, we did this online because of the lockdown, but we've run bespoke training where we've implemented internal processes across the business. So spending some time with a business unit, in this case it was the risk team, understanding how they want the new process and the new sort of risk management approach to be applied across the business. And then we've rolled that out to all of the businesses. And by doing that, what we've done is we've ensured that everyone has consistent training, a consistent message, but we've been able to link it back to people's specific roles and specific jobs. So that was one example. Other examples, the nice thing about the bespoke is because we have a broad range of trainers, we cover a much broader topic range than just the securities lending. So we've run courses on fund administration, teaching a new fund administrator all around the kind of subscription and redemption processes and the roles and responsibilities of a fund administrator. We've looked at derivative operations, and quite recently we've done a significant amount of work in the collateral space. So with all of the collateral requirements in securities lending and in the derivative space through EMEA and the UMR requirements really hitting home now, a lot of firms have been focusing on efficient enterprise-wide collateral management and taking the benefits of those processes. So we've spent a lot of time looking at specific systems. So we were able to come in and talk to you about collateral management, but also relate that back to the specific systems and processes that you have internally. And really the bespoke is about kind of working with the business to ensure that the content within the training is very specific and bespoke to the business that we're working with.
Fantastic, Sarah. Thank you very much for your time today and keeping us up to date on everything that's going on with Consolo and how SFTR has progressed over 2020. and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Great. Thanks, Justin. Good to see you.